What's up, YouTube? I'm back in the still standing garage. I'm working on the 83 Regal again, the little 3.8 V6 right here. I am going to change the oil right now, so let's remove the breather here so that way it could actually breathe, and when I take out the bolt down there to drain the oil, it'll be a lot easier. Pick up the dipstick a little bit. Car's already on jack stand, so let me get down there and start draining the oil. Let's go. Alright, YouTube, look how nasty that oil pan is. Have a small leak because it's collecting right on the head of the bolt right there. I don't think it's that bad. It doesn't leak that much on the floor. I do need to clean it up. This oil pan is actually chrome. I chromed it out a long time ago. You know what they say, to be able to find a leak, you got to clean everything up and then run the engine and see where it's leaking from. Look how nasty this belly is too. Everything's real nasty here. The front of the oil pan over here, it's all greasy as well. You can kind of see where I moved the grease around when I was replacing the fuel pump over there. So let me clean this up real quick and then we'll start draining the oil. Let's go. Alright, YouTube, and there it is. It's all cleaned up. Nice and chrome. Gonna have to take this off now. Hopefully we don't make a mess. Get it all over the place. This is real tight, so I do have to use a breaker bar here. Let's see if we can pop it off. I'm messing anything up. Looks like it's coming off pretty good. Not bad at all. Let that drain out. Look how dark that is. Real dark. As long as there's no metal shavings in it, that's all good. Alright, it's completely drained out now. I already cleaned up the bolt here. Let me see if it'll focus. Cleaned up the bowl and I put a new washer or new drain plug gasket here. They're pretty cheap, about $3 for the set of two. Here's the part number for these little V6s. It's the 652746. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check that out if you guys need them. I mean, they're pretty cheap, so why not replace them every time you change the oil? Prevent those leaks. So pop this one in, tighten it up. And then we'll move on to the oil filter. Gotta take that off and put the new one on. Let's go. Alright, let's see if I could pop this one off without any tooling. Yep, sure enough. It's good to go. Good thing I didn't over tighten it back in the day. Let's see how much of a mess we make here. Catch all that. Look how black it is. I'm not even sure if the color's actually coming out on the camera, but it's very black. It is what it is. Let's pop this one off and I'll pop the new one in. So the game plan here is replacing the oil, letting it run for a while, a couple of thousand miles or probably even less, and then I'm gonna replace the oil again because I know there's some of this real nasty oil still in there. Oh, that's still gonna stay in there right after I even put the new oil in. So it is what it is. Pop the new one in, which is let me see, it's a AC Delco brand. Let's pop it in. Tighten that up nicely. Snug it up. The good thing about these oil filters is if I can't take it off in the future, there's enough room in here to grab it with one of those oil filter pliers and pop it off. You know, some other cars are really hard to get to, or at least fit the pliers around the oil filter. I mean, in the past I've used screwdrivers to punch right through the oil filter so I could get something to grip onto. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done that, but I've experienced a couple of those. But it is what it is. Clean up this oil and then we'll go up top. Let's go. Alright, YouTube, so before I add the oil, I do want to replace the valve cover gasket. Have this Velcro right here. Real nice. I already did the driver's side, which is the easiest side because there's no obstacles to get to the valve cover itself. Let me show you the passenger side. You got the harness, the heater hoses, and all that great stuff that's going to get in the way. I'll show you how I'm going to do that one right now. So let's get to it. So the bolts that are on here are actually, they're 10 millimeter. They shouldn't be on there too tight. So like I said, I have a whole bunch of the harness and a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be in the way for me to try to take it off and make it easy on myself. Let me take this one off. Yeah, see, they're not that tight. Come off pretty quick. That bottom one is gonna be the hard one. Let me take off the breather that's back here so I can reach that bolt that's down there on this side. There it is. Get that breather out of there. I have to clean these up. Look how busted they are. Alright, that last bolt here, close to the heater box, was the hardest to get the wrench to it. But the good thing, like I said, these aren't really tight, so they do come off pretty easy. They shouldn't be too tight anyways. I should actually go grab my magnet so that way when the bolt tries to fall out I can catch it so it doesn't fall somewhere where I can never find it ever again. So there it is. And this side was actually the side that was leaking. As you can see right there, it's all wet. So that's why I'm replacing the valve covers, the valve cover gaskets. The passenger side was the one leaking. The driver's side wasn't leaking, but why not replace that one too, right? So let's start popping it off. After I take off the other three, let's go. The driver's side was the one that was stuck a little, so I had to bang it. This one looks like it's coming off pretty good. Just getting it around, out of the way from all these obstacles here. There it is. It's coming out. Nice and slow. There it is. Look how dirty this one is. It's not bad. The gasket didn't stick to the valve cover. So now it's time to remove the gasket. It is coming off in pieces. Let me see if I can show you. So this right here on the driver's side was coming off in pieces. Yeah, this one's it's pretty fried, you see it. So have to patiently take it off with the razor blade. I do have a razor blade here that I'm gonna use to scrape it off. So I'm gonna scrape off all the excess there. I'm gonna take off whatever I can by hand, the one that's breaking apart. And this little piece right here. So it's all gonna come off like that, scrape it off, and then get around all this stuff that's here to try to get it completely off. And then we can put on the new valve cover gasket. So all it takes is patience and time. So let me do that real quick. I'll bring you guys back on. And there it is. I already cleaned up most of the gasket off of it, whatever I could reach. It wasn't that bad. Some of the areas I had to reach with the screwdriver, but the majority came off. I mean, some of the little pieces fell inside of the head here. Let me see if I can show you. There's so many things here and it sucks. So some of it fell in there. I got out as much as I could, but it's inevitable, you know. Some of that stuff's gonna fall in there. So these gaskets here, the Felpro gasket, it has labels on it. It says cover side right there, and then intake side. So that way you don't make any mistakes when you're putting them on. So like I said, the driver's side went on there pretty easy because there wasn't that much stuff all over the place. So hopefully this actually works out for me and I'm able to put it in there. Very easy. One thing was that the cleaning is what took the longest. I think I spent 30 minutes trying to clean this, getting around all this stuff without trying to rip it all out when I got frustrated or whatever. So we'll see how the head goes in there right now. I mean the valve cover. And hopefully I don't pinch any wires. That's the last thing I need is wires pinched up by the valve cover. Let's pop the valve cover in there. I'm not sure why the breather hole was put on the back side of the motor. Maybe because of the wires or whatever. But I'm going to try to put it like this so that way it matches the other side. We'll see how that fits. I mean, these aren't labeled at all. I was thinking of taking off all the pits that's on here. You can see all those little spots. I cleaned it up as much as I could, but all those spots, they could probably come off. But I'm thinking of probably getting some other valve covers later on. So we'll see. Alright, let's make sure there's no wires in the back over here that I'm pinching. That's going on there pretty good. So it's on there. Now we gotta make sure that the gasket didn't move too bad. So let me fix that. And there it is, YouTube. It's all bolted on. Now for the breather hole, it actually had to be on the back side because the gasket wouldn't line up with the valve cover, so that's why it was facing the other way. I mean, I would like it over here, but that's not how it works out. I did go ahead and tighten everything up. Everything's looking pretty good. Put my harness back on where it was supposed to go. And then that last bolt right there, man, that took at least 30-35 minutes just to put on that last one. I had to use a screwdriver, a magnet, the extension, swivel. It's a whole bunch of situations right there that you didn't want to see. Me throwing flashlights around and all that, but it's done. Now time to put some oil in the motor and be done with this. Let's go. All right, let's throw in some oil. I'll be using castor oil here, 10W30. I don't even remember how many quarts this car takes, but we're gonna start off with dumping 3 quarts in there first, and then we'll measure it out, and I think it's 4, but we'll find out. So pouring the oil in here, that will pretty much complete the job. Hopefully the valve covers are not leaking anymore, and also the oil pan, I could at least find where the oil is coming from if it is leaking. And then I do have the oil pan gasket for future if it is leaking, and then I find the actual source if it is actually coming from there. So let's go. Thank you for watching.